Well, hello. Thank you. And welcome to Terror to Triumph. This is the podcast live. We're talking about surviving childhood trauma. And my name is Alphonso Pelt. I am too a survivor. And I want to welcome all of you to the discussion of how we overcome the fear, the anxieties, the guilt, and the shame to reclaim our power and become empowered to take over our lives, take back what was taken from us. This is in a way a replacement for professional therapy or a professional such as a psychiatrist or psychologist. But what this is a community that we're trying to grow to establish a safe zone for other survivors who have yet to come out from underneath the dark cloak of shame, guilt, and fear. We want to create a safe space where we can talk and share our stories, tell our truths, learn, listen, and grow. Today's episode is Self-Sabotage, and I want to welcome you all back. Again, I'm Alphonso Pelt, and last week we talked about how childhood abuse affects our adult lives, right? So we want to get into a little bit more into that this week. And this week we will be focusing on how it affects our adult relationships, attachment styles, trauma bonding, and the patterns we repeat without even realizing it. Today, we're going to go a little bit deeper into one of the most painful and confusing of those patterns, and that's self-sabotage. If you've ever wondered why you wreck good things, why you push good people away right when things are going well, if you can't seem to let yourself be happy, this episode is just for you. Self-sabotage isn't a character flaw. It's not a weakness. It's survival on autopilot. It's your nervous system trying to protect you using the only tools it learned as a child. But here's the thing. Those tools don't work anymore. Not in adulthood, not when you're not in a traumatized situation. Once you understand why you sabotage yourself, you can start to change it. It's not a permanent thing. Today, we're breaking down the most common self-sabotage patterns that come from childhood abuse. We're exploring why your brain does this, what it looks like in real life, and most importantly, how to break the cycle. I'm going to share pieces of my own journey with self-sabotage, and we're going to give you practical tools to start recognizing and interrupting these patterns. So, let's start with a definition. Self-sabotage refers to behaviors, thoughts, or actions that interfere with your goals, relationships, or overall well-being. It's when you unconsciously work against yourself. Here's what makes it tricky, okay? It doesn't feel like sabotage in the moment. It feels normal. It feels safe. It feels like the only logical thing to do. Why? Because self-sabotage is a trauma response. It's a pattern learned earlier in life as self-preservation. When you grew up in an abusive environment, your nervous system learned that good things don't last, that safety is temporary, that if something feels too good, something bad is coming. So your brain, trying to protect you, creates situations that feel more familiar, more predictable, more normal, even if that normal is painful. Let me walk you through some of the most common patterns I see in survivors. I'm starting to talk like I'm a therapist, right? But I know other people who have survived, and we've talked, and these are some of the common things that I have seen. You're in a good relationship and things are stable. Then, out of the blue, out of nowhere, you pick a fight. You bring up old issues, you create drama. Why? Hmm. Because your nervous system doesn't know how to handle sustained happiness. Think about that for a minute. That's that's a tough one. Your mind is telling you too much happiness is too good to be true. It feels wrong to you. So you start to create conflict to make things feel normal again. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. That's something I dealt with and I'm still trying to overcome. If you had a chance to talk to my ex-wife, she would tell you that she would always question me. Why you do this? Why did you do that? You know this, you know that. Why did you we'd have conversation after conversation, argument after argument, and I'd still go and nitpick and do those same things because being in too much peace felt wrong to me. I would always tell her that I was afraid she was going to leave me. And I did things to make that happen. Not wanting to, unconsciously, I would do it. And sometimes I cry to myself because I say to myself, why am I like this? Why do I keep doing these things? At the moment when I'm doing it, it's not registering as a negative issue. It's not registering as this is something I probably should not do or I should discuss with her first. But that didn't register with me. All I knew is things are going way too good. Maybe this is not right. Maybe something's going on in the background. I need to look into this. Too much, reading too much into the situation. I started causing problems. And it cost me my marriage. That's one of the things I did to cause my marriage. So it's not something that you do and you say, I'm all alone in this. You're not alone. I did it too. You know, and like I tell everyone, I promise my promise to you as the listeners, my promise is 100% clairvoyance. I'm gonna give you 100% glass door. You're gonna see straight through into my life. I'm not holding back. Now I want to keep it open like that because honesty is the only way we're gonna come out of this darkness. Honesty is the only way we're gonna heal. Telling the truth is the only way we can help each other to heal others. Now, here's another scenario. Someone offers help to you, or a therapist suggests a treatment plan, or a friend reaches out to you, but you reject it. You minimize it, say, hey, it ain't that big a deal. I'm good. You turn it down. You say you don't need it. Why? because accepting help means admitting you're vulnerable. It means trusting someone, and you know from your childhood that trusting someone is dangerous. Okay, another situation. And this one's going to ping out very loud to a lot of us. Okay. It's another one of my personal traits that I'm trying to get rid of. You have a goal, right? And you know what you need to do, but either you can't seem to get it started, or you start and you can't seem to finish, or you procrastinate on finishing. You avoid it. You dodge it. It comes back up in your mind. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to do this. But you start avoiding it. Your own self. You find distractions. You try to jump into a relationship, or you try to play the video game, or you say, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go to the movies. Or just anything not to deal with it. This is self-sabotage too. Your nervous system is protecting you from the risk of failure, or even worse, the risk of success. Here's another one. And I know everybody can gravitate to this. We're our own worst critics. We tell ourselves we're not good enough. We set impossible standards for ourselves. Then we beat ourselves up for any mistake. Why? This keeps us small. It keeps us safe, because if you never really try, you can never really fail. Now, looking back at all these things, you say to yourself, as an adult, that just doesn't sound right. How can I be doing all this stuff and it don't even seem? But remember, these are mechanisms you learned as a child because of the trauma you went through. They're still there, up there operating. It's like your Microsoft operating system. It's still operating up there. You've done nothing to update the system. That's the truth. We got to update our systems, y'all. And I'm going to get to that in a minute, because there is a way for us to update our systems. But let me give you a couple more scenarios. You know someone is bad for you, right? Okay. It's toxic. You didn't cut them off. I'm done. I'm done. But then you reach it back out to them and you give them another chance. Why you go back? Hmm. Because that dysfunction is familiar. I mean, I might need to say that again. That dysfunction is familiar. It's what you know. And on some level, familiar feels safer than the unknown of healthy relationships, because you know dysfunction. You live through dysfunction. You know how to operate in dysfunction, but you don't know how to operate in a healthy relationship. And you're afraid of operating in a healthy relationship because it's a big unknown. And that terrifies you. Unknown terrifies you. Trusting terrifies us. So if you get into a healthy relationship, that terrifies us even more, even though we say we want to be loved. And that might be the truth. We do want to be loved. But we avoid it because dysfunction is something we already know. And we are afraid to try something new that could possibly be positive for us. Okay, let me give you another point. The last one, I promise. Because I know I gave out a lot of points. There's a lot of information, but this is the last one, I promise you. Say you're about to get a promotion, right? Okay. The opportunity is right there. I mean, it's in your hand. And then you go and do something consciously or unconsciously that ruins it. You miss a deadline. You say the wrong thing in the interview. You undermine yourself because deep down, you don't believe that you deserve success. Now that's a deep one. You don't believe that you deserve it. Here's the neuroscience. Your brain has something called a set point or safety that feels normal to you based on your childhood experiences. Now, your childhood experiences, of course, we've all suffered trauma. That's why we're here to talk about it. So, your childhood experiences might have lower levels of success, happiness, and safety. So it depends on how you were traumatized, how you were abused, and on what levels those happened on. When you surpass that set point, when things go or get too good, your nervous system triggers. An alarm bell rings off and it interprets the change as danger. So it sabotages to bring you back down to what feels normal. That makes sense. So when you start to feel good and you start to get nervous because you're feeling good, you got to stop yourself and say, "Whoa, what is this? Why am I feeling nervous about feeling good? It's a good feeling. Why do I feel? You feel like you're about to sabotage something. That's the point you need to stop and look at and say, "Hey, this is something I need to recognize." This is now. I just want to let y'all know this. This isn't conscious. We don't do this on purpose. Your brain is literally trying to keep you alive based on what it learned in an unsafe environment years or decades ago. You were going through that childhood trauma. Hmm. I had plenty of chances to sustain success. It's a little bit of a tongue twister. But I look back now, I see I was building something good and then I tear it down. I'm sorry about that phone call. I thought I was broken. I thought I was destined to fail. It wasn't until I understood that sabotage was and is a trauma response and that I could start to change it. And I'm learning that now. Thank God to my therapist. I want to have her on the show eventually because she is so good and we're just getting started in my therapy and she's helping me realize a lot of things about myself. And if it's helping me this far to have me feel confident enough to come out here and share my personal experiences with you so that you can possibly help someone else or share my story with someone else or direct them to me to help them, then that's a beautiful thing. That is an awesome thing. And I want to keep that thing going. So I'm going to continue to see my therapist. And I suggest that if you haven't found one, to find one, you should always try to find a therapist who deals in childhood trauma in adults. Or if you know a child has suffered, then take the child to a therapist who deals with children and childhood trauma. There are people out there and they're waiting for you to reach them. They're willing to help. The first step to recognize when you're sabotaging yourself is to start paying attention. When do you create conflict? When do you reject help? When do you procrastinate on important goals? Got to write that down so we can notice the patterns, because the patterns are there. In order to break them, we got to start seeing them. In order to see them, we have to start writing them down so we can notice how they're affecting us, so we can see the actual patterns developing as we write down in our journals or whatever, our notebooks. You got to ask yourself what's going on when it happens, because behind every self-sabotage pattern is a fear. You have to ask yourself, what am I afraid of? Am I afraid of success, abandonment, vulnerability, getting too close to someone? Name the fear. Don't be afraid of it. Don't judge it. Just name it. Your nervous system learned that good things don't last, but that's not true. You can reprogram this belief. When you notice yourself sabotaging, pause and ask yourself, is this actually a dangerous situation? Or does it just feel familiar? What would happen if I let this good thing continue? I don't know if you noticed this, but self-sabotage is a habit, and habits can be changed. You have to start small. And when you feel the urge to create conflict, pause. Give yourself 24 hours before acting on it. When someone offers help, practice saying yes. When you want to reconnect with a toxic person, reach out to a healthy support system instead. Talk to your therapist, talk to a positive friend, but do not go back to the toxic relationship or person. Now, this is crucial. A trauma-informed therapist can help you understand the roots of your self-sabotage. They can give you the tools to interrupt the patterns. You don't have to do this alone. That's the whole reason I created this environment, for trauma survivors like myself to come, talk, share, learn. You are not alone. Spiritually, I don't know what you may believe in, but we weren't created to be alone. And I believe it's not the good in us, but evil forces around us will have us believe no one else is experiencing what I'm experiencing. What's happening to me is exclusive to me. No one's going through this besides me. I can't share what's happening to me with anyone else because they wouldn't understand. These things our mind tells us to keep us quiet. Our mind may tell us these things, or our abusers, our accosters, our assailants, they may have told us these things. You can't talk to anyone. No one's going to believe you. But guess what? There are people out here like me who will. And I'm not the only one. I'm just the one in your face right now. There's a long list of people behind me that'll back me up. So I want to let you know that self-sabotage is one of the most isolating patterns because it makes you feel like you're the problem, like you're broken, but you're not. You're a survivor. Your nervous system is just stuck in protection mode. And I want to hear from you. Why don't you tell me, like, what is your pattern? What self sabotage pattern resonates with you? You can comment, you can direct email us at terror, the number two, triumph at gmail.com to tell us your story. Or you can, if you want to be on the show to talk about it, I can contact you after you contact us and give us your information so I can contact you back and give you the heads up on how to be a participant on the show. I also want to know your victories, your moment of triumph, your realization that I need the help. I need help. You know, I need to hear this. And I want other people to hear this. These stories matter. You matter. We're not going to let whatever happened to you still affect you in your adult lives. We're here to help each other. If you know somebody who might be isolated or standoffish or hesitant to join a conversation or join a group, you know, reach out to these people. They may have gone through something that they have never dealt with, that they need to. Just talk to them. I'm not saying that because a person doesn't really interact with you, don't go up to them and say, "Oh, hi, how you doing? Have you been abused as a child?" Don't do that. Don't do that. But you talk to the person, get to know them, see if that's really the case. Because some people just don't like opening up and talking. It's not that they had anything happen to them, but you have to realize the signs. If you go back and look at the self-sabotage situations and you see these things, these patterns happening with people on their job or whatever, then you can see it now because you were dealing with them. So these are people you need to talk to, reach out to, because they need help just as much as we do. Now, if you're struggling with self-sabotage and you don't know where to start, here, right here on this podcast, we're building the community of people committed to breaking these cycles. I want you to subscribe here on YouTube, Buzzsprout, Instagram, or these other podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast Index, Podcast Addict, Pod Chaser, Deezer, Player FM, Overcast, Castro, Castbox, Good Pods, True Fans, and YouTube Podcasts. The YouTube podcast is about to come on tonight. Later on tonight, I'm about to set up for that. And there's another one, iTunes Radio, or iHeart Radio, rather. I'm sorry. And that will be on hopefully tonight, if not tonight, tomorrow. Excuse me. I'm working another job besides this podcast. So, yeah, I'm a little exhausted. I'm just trying to hammer through and help you guys in my spare time. So, please like, follow, share, whichever platform you might be on, even on TikTok, and share. Definitely share, share, share. Tell people about this podcast. Get the word out. Let them know it's a place that people can go and talk about this serious situation, because for too long, situations like this have gone in silence. No one's talking about it because it's taboo to talk about these things in the world today. And also, these things end up causing harm to other people later on. And we don't realize that. And we don't realize that these things are affecting us in adverse ways where we hurt others unconsciously and consciously. So it can play out in multiple ways. But the main thing is, come here to find out what you need to do. For all those who are listening, I want you to know there's numbers playing down here at the bottom of the screen. These are all helplines. They're constantly ticker-tating all the way through the episode so that you can get a number that you might need to help you in your time of need. Or maybe you know somebody that's going through something and maybe one of these numbers can help them. So do me a favor and jot these numbers down. Keep them somewhere, put them on your refrigerator, because you never know who's going to need the help when they're going to need it. And if you don't have that number available, it'll be kind of hard to help that person. You'll try to tell them to call a helpline or whatever. If you don't have that information handy, it's like you're just slapping them in the face with some words. So be of help and jot these numbers down, because you never know when someone's going to need the help close to you. Please leave a comment, like, and share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Your engagement helps us reach more survivors. Seek professional support. If you're ready to break these patterns, find a trauma-informed therapist. This work is transformative when you have professional guidance. I can tell you that from personal experience. My therapist is awesome. You deserve to experience sustained happiness. You deserve success. You deserve love without sabotaging it. And you're capable of breaking these patterns. Let's do this together. Before you go, I want to remind you, breaking self-sabotage patterns takes time. You've been operating like this for years, maybe decades, like I was. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate the small wins. And remember that every time you catch yourself sabotaging and choosing differently, you are literally rewiring your nervous system. And that's real progress. That's healing. In the show notes, you'll find resources on trauma-informed therapy and sabotage and healing, links to support communities if you don't have time to figure this out alone. You don't have to figure this out alone. You're not alone. Help is closer than you think. Next week, we're going to start a new topic, rebuilding trust, starting with yourself. And this one's going to be powerful. You don't want to miss it. Until then, Remember, your patterns aren't your personality. They're survival mechanisms that you've developed as a child going through the abusive time. You have the power to change that now. I'm Alphonso Pelt, and this is Terror to Triumph. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your courage.